Oh, they thought you were weak, didn't they? They thought you were just sitting there, doing nothing, while they rushed ahead like mindless bulls, charging like fools with their heads down, thinking speed is the answer. You ever seen a bull running with its eyes closed? Pretty pathetic. But guess what? While they were making noise, you were making your move. And now, guess what? They can't keep up. Isn't it beautiful? The moment they thought they'd left you behind, you were already ahead of them. Not in the way they expected, but in a way that makes them feel small, doesn't it? They thought you were asleep. They thought you were complacent. And now, look at you. Look at them. Isn't it funny? The ones who shouted the loudest, now they can't breathe because the silence you've built has buried them. I bet you're smiling now, aren't you? Watching them struggle to catch up to what you've been doing while they were busy looking down on you. You ever feel like you were just left behind? Like everyone else was moving forward, climbing over you, stepping on you, and all you had was the patience to sit there and wait for something to happen. And with every second you thought, is it ever going to be my time? I know that feeling. I get it. You're sitting in the dirt, feeling invisible while the world keeps spinning, and you're asking, when's it my turn? And they didn't make it any easier, did they? Everyone told you to move faster. Everyone told you that you were falling behind. But they didn't know the truth, did they? They didn't know you were playing a different game. They saw your stillness as weakness. They saw you as the underdog, the one who wouldn't make it. They thought you were weak. But here's the truth, no one was ahead of you. You were just waiting, and they were too blind to see it. And don't tell me you didn't feel that sting. The way they brushed you aside. The way they made you feel small when they thought you'd never amount to anything. The way they laughed when you told them your plans. But here's the kicker, they were too busy running to realize that you were playing the wrong game. And now they're behind. I've been there too. I know exactly how it feels to be discarded, to be treated like you don't matter. I know what it's like to sit in silence while the world screams past you, thinking you'll fade into nothing. But here's the thing they never understood. You're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to play by their rules. You weren't meant to follow their pace. No, you were meant for something bigger. So don't you dare feel sorry for yourself. Don't you dare give in to the pity party that everyone's waiting for you to throw. Because guess what? They all underestimated you. All of them. And that's exactly why you're going to be the one laughing when they look up. And they can't find you. Because I'm telling you this now, they never saw you coming. Not now, not ever. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? They'll keep thinking they have it all figured out. They'll keep rushing forward, believing their noise means success. But while they exhaust themselves, while they burn out, you'll be quietly finishing what they started. And when they finally look around, you won't be there. You'll be way beyond their reach. What's the lesson here? Patience isn't a flaw. It's a weapon. It's the silent preparation that leaves your enemies too tired to fight when you're ready. And let me tell you something, they're going to regret overlooking you. They'll regret every single moment they thought you were weak. And it's going to be too late. But don't just take my word for it. Look at what's ahead. The future's waiting for you. And it's about time you make your move. Look at them, running around in circles, chasing shiny things like moths to a flame. They think they're clever, don't they? Fast, efficient, getting what they want with the snap of a finger. But you know what? Fast doesn't always mean smart. And guess what? Fast? It's empty. It's hollow. It's just noise. They're all in a hurry to get somewhere they don't even know exists. And the more they rush, the further they fall. They're so desperate to be first, so obsessed with crossing some finish line that they don't realize the race they're in doesn't even matter. All they care about is the illusion of progress. I'm moving. I'm ahead. Look at me well. Guess what? Moving doesn't mean you're going anywhere. It's just running on a treadmill. Same place, same thing, no destination. While they're in this blind rush to get there first, what's happening to them? They're burning themselves out. They're losing themselves in the chaos of speed. And what are they chasing? What are they running toward? Because they sure as hell don't know. They don't have a plan. They're just stumbling forward, blindfolded, hoping they'll hit the jackpot before the wheels fall off. But you're different. You weren't in a rush, were you? No. You saw the madness. You knew exactly what was happening. You knew they were chasing their tails while you were just waiting. And they never saw that as your power. No, they thought you were the one who was behind. But really, they were the ones going nowhere. You've seen it, haven't you? Seen them burn themselves out trying to get ahead of you. All that frantic energy, all that empty speed. And what did it get them? A pile of stress, broken relationships, failed projects, and nothing to show for it. They're tired, aren't they? Just exhausted. They're wearing themselves thin trying to keep up with their own bullshit. And you're sitting back, watching them implode. You ever notice how the faster they went, the harder they fell? They were too busy pushing, too obsessed with being the best, the fastest, the first. And all that energy, all that rushing, it drained them. Now they're burnt out. And guess what? You're still here, still going strong, still standing tall. They don't get it, but they will. Oh, they will. You didn't rush because you knew the toll it takes. You knew the exhaustion of running blind. You knew that all the quick fixes and short-term wins couldn't ever replace the long-term success that came with patience. You knew that rushing, pushing yourself too hard, burning the candle at both ends, it doesn't lead to victory. It leads to self-destruction. And trust me, when they look at you now, they'll see it. They'll see their own collapse, and they'll wonder where you went. You see, they thought you were slow, didn't they? Too cautious, too careful. They laughed at you for waiting. They laughed at you for not jumping into every opportunity that came your way. They said you were weak, that you were too afraid, too slow. But let me tell you something, they couldn't have been more wrong. All that time you spent waiting, all those moments when you sat back, letting everyone else rush by, they thought you were wasting time. But here's the twist, you were never wasting time. You were just playing it smart. While they were all scrambling to build something fast, something shiny, you were building something real, something unshakable. Patience isn't a weakness. It's a power move. It's not sitting there twiddling your thumbs. It's preparation. It's observation. It's knowing that if you wait for the right moment, you're going to strike with precision. And what are they doing? They're panicking, running in circles, trying to fix their mistakes. They didn't wait. They didn't think. And now look at them. And now, when it's your time to rise, when it's your time to act, you're ready. While they're still scrambling to figure out where they went wrong, you're standing tall, ready to take over, ready to leave them in the dust. Because all that time they thought you were behind, you were building, you were learning, you were becoming someone they could never catch. And don't you dare let anyone tell you patience is a flaw. It's not. It's the reason you're about to walk right past everyone who thought they were ahead of you. They'll still be caught in their own chaos, their own desperate chase, while you'll be standing at the top, looking down, saying, "I told you so." You see the difference between you and them? You didn't fall for the illusion of progress. You didn't let the noise of the world fool you. You waited. And now, you're going to rise. They told you it was weakness. They laughed at you for waiting, didn't they? Told you that you weren't moving fast enough. They said you'll never make it. Not like this. The world doesn't wait. The world moves forward, but they were wrong. They couldn't have been more wrong. You weren't waiting out of weakness. You were waiting for your moment to strike. And now that moment is here. You see, while they were rushing ahead, running in circles like blind animals, stumbling over their own feet, you were doing something they couldn't even comprehend. You were learning. You were planning. You were plumbing. They were becoming. They were caught up in the noise, the chaos, the empty pursuit of speed. But you were preparing for something bigger. You were putting in the work they'll never see. And now, while they're exhausted, burnt out, struggling to keep up with their own delusions of progress, you're just getting started. They thought you were falling behind, didn't they? They thought you were stuck in the past, when in reality, you were laying the groundwork for a future they couldn't even dream of. And now that future is knocking at your door. And they're still stuck in the chaos they created. Stuck with their empty, hollow victories. You know what happens next? It's your time to rise. You've been silent, haven't you? While they were shouting from the rooftops, boasting about their fake victories, their hollow success, you were quiet. You weren't saying a word. You weren't making noise. You didn't need to. You were building. You were planning. You were working in silence. And now, you're about to show them what real power looks like. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the world. Everyone's screaming about their so-called achievements, their empty trophies, their likes and shares us. But you stayed silent. You stayed focused. You knew that true power isn't about making a spectacle of yourself. It's about quietly building something that will last, something that can't be taken away, something they'll never even hear coming. While they were shouting, you were building. While they were making noise, you were becoming. And now, when they look at you, all they'll see is a force, a storm that came out of nowhere, a power they couldn't even fathom because you didn't need to announce it. You just let it grow. And now, it's about to crush everything in its path. Let me make this clear, patience was never about sitting around doing nothing. No, you weren't passive. You weren't idly waiting for life to hand you something. You were working, you were planning, you were sharpening your skills, watching, waiting for the right opportunity. And now you're ready. The moment you've been waiting for is here, and the world doesn't know what's about to hit it. It's time to stop thinking of patience as something weak. It's not about sitting in the corner and letting life pass you by. Patience is power. It's knowing that the right time will come, and when it does, you'll be ready to take over. And while they were too busy running around, making noise, trying to impress the world with their empty success, you were waiting for something more, something bigger. You weren't sitting idle. You were working, building, becoming. And now you're in control. While they're still stuck in the past, trying to recover from their own mistakes, you've moved forward. You've crossed that threshold. You're stepping into your power, into your destiny, and there's nothing they can do about it. They can't catch up. They can't even comprehend what you've built. You're ready for whatever comes next. And they're just now realizing what they've lost. And it's too late. They underestimated you, didn't they? They thought you were just waiting around, wasting time. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, you were preparing. You were getting ready. And now, when it's time to rise, you'll rise higher than they'll ever reach. You'll soar, and they'll be left behind, watching as you take control of everything they thought was theirs. Here's the thing: they thought they had you. They thought you were dependent on their approval, on their validation. They thought you'd break under the pressure, fold under the weight of their expectations. But now, the truth's coming out. Isn't it? You've realized something they never did. You don't need anyone. Not now. Not ever. The world's been moving quickly, hasn't it? Chaos everywhere, people running, rushing, screaming for their spot at the table. And here you are, patiently waiting, watching. They think they've left you behind. They think you're too slow. But what they don't know is this. While they've been chasing after empty success, you've been quietly taking control. You've been building your strength. And now you don't need anyone's permission. Now it's your turn to move. Your turn to rise above the noise, above the chaos. You're not part of their rat race. You've got something they'll never have. It's time to stop waiting. Time to stop hoping someone will throw you a bone, give you a hand, pat you on the back. You've been patient enough. You've earned this. The only question left is, what are you going to do with all that power? The world will keep moving, and the noise will keep growing. They'll keep rushing ahead. But here's the catch: you don't have to follow them. You don't have to join their madness. You can rise above it, because now you have the power to control your own destiny. All that pain, all that rejection, you think that was wasted? No, that was just the fire that forged you. Every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, they were the sparks that lit the flame inside of you. You were tested. You were pushed to the edge. And guess what? You didn't break. You didn't crumble. You came back stronger. You turned that suffering into something powerful. And now it's your weapon. Every scar, every failure, every wound you've collected along the way is now a part of who you are. It's not weakness, it's strength. And it's time you used it to your advantage. They thought they could bury you, didn't they? They thought you'd fold under the pressure. But instead, you took every ounce of that pain, every bit of that isolation, and you turned it into something they can't even fathom. You are stronger than they'll ever know. You are ready for whatever comes next. And they'll be left behind, watching as you rise from the ashes they thought would consume you. The world doesn't owe you anything. They won't hand you a victory. But here's the thing: you don't need them. You don't need their approval, their recognition. You've already got what you need. You've got the power within you, forged in the fires of everything they tried to take from you. And now it's time to use it. You've been patient, yes, but patience doesn't mean sitting around doing nothing. Patience is about knowing when to act. Patience is about waiting for the right moment to move. And that moment, it's right now. It's time to stop sitting on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect opportunity to fall into your lap. There's no such thing as perfect timing. The perfect time is when you decided it. The perfect time is when you're ready. And trust me, you're ready. And this isn't about rushing ahead like everyone else, hoping that speed will get you somewhere. No, this is about deliberate action, steady, calculated steps toward your goal. Every move you make from here on out will be intentional. Every action will bring you closer to the life you've been building. No more wasting time, no more hesitating. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to make your move. You're not in a race. You're not competing with anyone else. This is your journey. And if you've learned anything from waiting, it's that every step counts. You don't need to rush. You just need to keep moving forward. Slow and steady doesn't just win the race, it wins the war. Look, I know what they did to you. I know how they laughed at you, how they tried to bring you down, how they left you for dead. But here's the thing. This isn't about getting revenge. It's not about proving them wrong. This is about proving to yourself that you are so much more than they ever thought you were. They wanted you to fail. They wanted to see you broken, begging for their approval. But you're not doing this for them. You're doing it for yourself. This isn't about getting back at anyone. It's about creating something so powerful, so untouchable. Oh, that nothing they do can touch it. They'll never see it coming. They'll never understand it. You've built something real, something solid, something they could never even dream of. And now it's time to watch as they try to catch up. Try to understand how you got there. And the truth is, they won't. They won't ever understand. Because what you're building, it's built on something they'll never have. It's built on patience, it's built on strength, and it's built on you. So stop wasting time on petty revenge. Stop wasting energy trying to get back at them. The best revenge, the sweetest revenge, it's creating something so strong, so powerful, that they'll never have a chance to tear it down. And the best part, you won't even have to lift a finger. Your success will be enough. Your rise will be all the revenge you need. This is your time. You've been patient, you've been strong, and now it's time to rise above the noise. The world is filled with distractions, with chaos, with people who are too busy running around to realize what you've been doing. But not you. You've been planning, you've been building, and now it's time for the world to see what you're made of. So, take control. Channel your pain into power. Take deliberate action, and build something that no one can ever take from you. They thought they had you figured out, didn't they? Thought they could leave you behind. But here's the reality. You're just getting started. And when they look at you next, they'll see the monster they made, the one they never thought would rise. You've waited long enough. The time to act is now. And trust me, they won't be able to keep up. Do you hear it? The sound of them running, scrambling, trying to get ahead. You've been there too. You've heard their noise. You've seen them rush ahead thinking they were faster, smarter. But here's the thing they never understood. They thought they had you figured out. They thought you were just sitting there, idly waiting, while they tore through the world at full speed. But now you're leaving them behind. And when they turn to look back, you won't even be in sight. You'll be so far ahead that they won't know how to catch up. They won't understand what happened. They'll wonder how they got left in the dust. But you'll know exactly what happened. Patience happened. Strategy happened. You happened. They thought you were too slow, too careful, too hesitant. But while they were out there, pushing themselves too hard, too fast, you were building. You were creating something that would last. And now, as they stumble and falter, you rise. Slowly, but with an unshakable strength they'll never have. You'll look down on them from the heights they'll never reach, and you'll know every second of waiting, every ounce of pain, every moment of doubt was worth it. You've done it. You've surpassed them all. Not by running faster, but by running smarter. By waiting for the right moment to strike, and then boom, leaving them behind. You're in the driver's seat now. You're the one in control, and they're scrambling to catch up, never realizing they were always chasing the wrong thing. You know what's coming, don't you? The look on their faces when they finally realize what they did. The doubt, the dismissal, the way they counted you out, they'll regret it all. Every sneer, every mockery, every time they told you that you weren't good enough, they'll look at you, and they won't know what to say. How did you do it? How did you go from nothing to everything without them even noticing? How did you become untouchable? The truth, they were too busy talking, too busy rushing to see what was really happening. They thought they were smarter than you. They thought they could race ahead without consequence. But here's the secret: they were just noise, empty chatter, shiny distractions. And you were the silence that crushed them. You didn't need to shout. You didn't need to prove anything. All you had to do was outlast them. And now you've won. They'll watch you now, won't they? Watch you as you climb higher, as you rise above them in ways they can't even comprehend. They'll ask themselves, how did they get so far? How did they do it? And the answer will hit them like a ton of bricks. You did it by waiting, by being patient, by playing the long game. While they were busy burning out, you were building a foundation so strong, so steady, that no one could tear it down. They'll regret the moment they doubted you. They'll regret the moment they left you behind. And you'll stand there, unshaken, while they scramble to put together the pieces of the success they thought they could build in a hurry. It wasn't meant for them. It was meant for you. What you've built, it's untouchable, bulletproof. It wasn't made in a rush. It wasn't built on the lies and shortcuts they took. What you've created was made from something far more powerful than speed or instant gratification. It was built from your patience, your persistence, your quiet strength. Every step you took, every moment you waited, was a step towards something that no one else could have. You didn't need the world's approval. You didn't need anyone to tell you it was time. You knew that slow and steady doesn't just win the race, it wins the war. And now, as they look at you from their crumbling pedestals, they'll see the empire you've built. They'll see how solid it is, how unshakable it is, and they'll realize they'll never touch it. They'll never get near it. Because what you've created was built to last, not built on a whim. They built their houses on sand. They thought speed would get them to the top. But all they did was climb a mountain of false promises. And now they're starting to slip. Their success was built on flimsy foundations, but yours is made from rock. You've built something that time can't touch, something that no amount of rushing can undo. What you have now is untouchable. Not because you've outdone them, not because you've beaten them at their own game, but because you've created something far greater than they ever understood. You've built something that can't be torn down. You've built an empire that will outlast them, and they know it. They'll know it every time they look up at you, every time they watch you climb higher, and all they'll be able to do is stand there and wonder how they ever doubted you, wonder how they ever let you slip through their fingers. You were never weak. You were never slow. You were never the one who couldn't keep up. No, you were the one who was always 2 steps ahead, the one who was building something no one else could see. And now it's here. Now it's real, and no one can take it from you. So let them doubt. Let them rush. Let them think they're ahead of you. In the end, they'll be the ones left behind, while you stand at the top of an empire that they'll never understand. The joke's on them, isn't it?